A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu was-salam ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilman. So, assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome back to our series of reflections on the Quran for the month of Ramadan. And since we are approaching the nights of Qadr, and many of us will be reciting Sura Ankabut, which is chapter 29 of the Quran, I thought we would spend the next few days talking about some of the verses. It has so many lessons for us. And for people who are interested in diving deep into this beautiful chapter of the Quran, over the years, we have explored this surah quite a bit. And the link that you will find at the end of this is a page of resources for Laylatul Qadr and quite a few blog posts, even infographic and audio on, doing a deep dive into this surah and learning the lessons from it. But today, inshallah, let us explore the verse that the surah gets its name from. So Ankabut means spider. And the chapter gets its name, the surah gets its name from verse 41, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Mathalul lazina takhazu min dunillahi awliya. So the parable or the example of those who take guardians besides Allah. So Awliya, remember we talked about how Awliya is a guardian, a protector. And so the verse goes on to say, Kamaslil Ankabut. It is as the parable of the spider. And what are we being asked to reflect on the spider? At-takhazat baytan. So it spins itself a house. And then Allah goes on to say that, O hanal buyute labaytul ankabut. So indeed, the most frailest of the houses is the spider's house, lo kanu ya'malun. So, if only they knew how frail this house is. So, in other words, reflecting on this verse, it seems to be saying that, all of the things that we hold on to in this world, right, so-called security systems are something that gives us peace of mind, is being likened to being as frail as a spider's web. Now, obviously, this verse invites us to kind of reflect on what is so unusual about the spider's web. Why did Allah talk about the spider as opposed to other animals, for example? So, there's very interesting features about the spider's web. First of all, it affords no protection. So, houses, we think of something that providing us safety, security, protection from the elements. However, the spider's web, it's really quite a construction, right? It is a remarkable feat of architecture and it looks beautiful. However, it does not fulfill the basic need of a house, which is protection. It doesn't protect the spider from the elements at all. Wind, fire, water, they all penetrate through it. And it is so fragile that the mere brush from a broom or a hand can destroy it, right? So it's a very frail house. It's also built from within. So while other animals use materials from nature to construct their houses, the spider, as we know, spins the web from a substance within itself. It comes out of the spider, and that's the material that the spider uses. Also, interestingly, the house itself is a trap. So although it provides no protection to the spider, it serves as a trap for other insects. And despite its frailty, flies and other insects are caught in the house. And the main function of this web is to provide the spider its to continue biologically to feed it, right, by capturing other insects for food. There's no security for family. So some of the female species of the spiders have actually been known to eat the male, once they have mated. So it provides no security for family attachments. And interestingly, the spider just keeps spinning. So, when we're cleaning up and we brush away spider's web without a second thought, the next day, another one is likely to appear. So, when the web gets destroyed, as it easily does, the spider leaves the torn web behind and spins just another one with very little trouble. So, what are some of the lessons that we can learn, reflect on uh, as this surah is asking us to do, this verse? So, let's reflect on what are some of the structures of security that we count on, or webs that we spin with our minds. If you look at it, if you think of what gives you security in this world, very often it is money. Money is a huge source of security, right? And understandably so, because poverty, lack of money is a very anxiety, insecurity, situation, right? We call it food insecurity. So money and bank balances absolutely provide us security. Secondly, family and friendship connections. The older we get, we begin to count on the connections that we have nurtured, and they kind of give us a sense of security that if we were in trouble, these connections or these friendships, these family connections would come to our rescue. Degrees, education. So very often, if I know things, if I have spent a long time studying something, obviously it gives me a sense of security that I know what I'm doing. It gives me confidence in my life. What else? Health, bodily strength, beauty. So again, for men and women both, if they fall within the normative beauty and strength parameters of what is, what is trending at the time, it gives you. And there's a lot of research to suggest that people who fall into the trending kind of looks and body shapes and all of that have it easier in life. So it does provide some sort of a leg up, or a benefit. Belief systems, right? So our beliefs provide us a lot of security. Sometimes they can actually be negative, in the sense that I can tell myself that I can't do anything about a situation, and that provides me security in a sense, because it provides me, I can't take responsibilities, right? So, when we reflect again on this verse and what Allah is asking us to do, we may find that all of these security system or webs, idle, sometimes we call, are in fact as temporal and fragile as the Bayt al-Ankabut, the house of the spider. We can see that despite looking pretty and complicated, and we spend a lot of time on it, these so-called securities do not provide us any security at all. And all of them, money, family, degrees, we can lose our minds, um, our research can fall out of favor. Our health and beauty is, of course, really fragile. And all of these things are really temporal. And, so when we are in touch with that, these are simply, fragile, they're fragile attachments. And what Allah is asking us to reflect on is that min dunillah, right? So when you count on any of this, apart from not keeping Allah in the center, then they will not help us in the long run, right? Even if they may help us for the time being in the world, which they do, the reality of all of these things is that they are fragile. We fall in and out of favor with people all the time, right? People who seem to really respect us will, change their mind very often, right? So the point is that the only ultimate refuge, in fact, the only refuge, is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we pursue the knowledge on reality that the other than Allah is relative, it is unsatisfactory, it is fragile. When the rain comes, the wind blows, or the going gets tough, the webs that we have built, they might break apart, they might be swept away. And sometimes we are jolted to this reality after our webs have already been broken. Which one of us has not been disappointed in life? Things that we counted on, relationships that we took completely for granted, people that we trusted, so they can break our trust. People can fall sick, die, move away. So things that we consider to be so secure, they turn out not to be so. What we have been leaning on is been proven to be not very strong. And, so the surah is basically inviting us to escape this loss by reflecting on the frailty of the spider's web and attaching ourselves to the timeless principles and to divinity itself. Of course, this doesn't mean that we don't take all of these things that we have been talking about as while they're there, they're absolutely great. They make our life easier, and they do provide a lot of benefit. However, when we, the point is not to count on them apart from Allah. So when we are in recognition that all of this is temporary, we can enjoy it, and we still cling to divinity, we still cling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even when we have been blessed by all of these so-called security terms. That is what feet grounded and will help us see us through really tough times. So inshallah, hope this reflection was beneficial. And like I said, there are lots more resources available for reflections, things that we pray during Laylatul Qadr, and you can go to the link and explore some of them. See you again tomorrow. And